Have you ever caught yourself pulling away just when things start to get serious? Or clinging tightly when someone starts to create space? I remember sitting on the edge of my bed after yet another confusing breakup. The texts had gotten shorter, the calls less frequent, and suddenly, it was over. No major fight, no closure, just silence. And the worst part? It wasn't the first time this had happened. Different person. Same pattern. It was then that I stumbled across a stat that stopped me cold. Over 50% of adults have an insecure attachment style, and most don't even realize it. That's when I started to connect the dots. Why do we chase people who won't commit? Why do we feel smothered by the ones who care too much? Why do we sabotage love, even when it's exactly what we've been searching for? It all comes back to attachment styles. And here's the kicker. Your attachment style isn't just about childhood trauma or exes from the past. It quietly shapes how you text, how you trust, how you argue, how you apologize, and ultimately, how you love. But identifying your style on your own, that can feel like trying to read your own label from inside the bottle. That's where ChatGPT comes in. Yep, AI isn't just for writing essays or generating recipes. With the right prompts and guidance, ChatGPT can actually mirror back your emotional patterns, help you unpack old wounds, and even suggest healthier ways to connect. It's like journaling with a therapist who remembers everything, never judges, and always asks the right next question. In today's video, we're diving deep into how to use ChatGPT as a self-awareness tool, to not just diagnose your attachment style, but to start healing it. If you've ever felt like you're stuck in the same relationship cycle, like love keeps slipping through your fingers, or tightening like a trap, you are not alone. And it's not because you're broken, it's because your attachment system is trying to protect you the only way it knows how. Let's teach it a new way. Let's start that healing journey today. When it comes to love and relationships, most of us think our problems are about the other person. They're too distant. They're too clingy. They just don't get me. But what if the real issue isn't just them? What if it's something deeper? Something baked into the way we connect, react, and attach? That's where attachment styles come in. Rooted in psychology, your attachment style is essentially your emotional blueprint for intimacy. It shapes how you bond with others, how safe you feel in relationships, and how you respond to things like conflict, affection, and even silence. And whether you've heard these terms before or not, secure, anxious, avoidant, or disorganized, chances are your style is playing a huge role in how your relationships start and how they end. Ever wonder why you get anxious when they don't text back right away? Or why you shut down the moment things get emotional? Or maybe you crave connection but feel smothered when someone gets too close? That's your attachment system in action. But here's the thing, most of us never learned about this stuff growing up. We weren't handed a manual that said, hey, here's how you love and trust and not freak out when someone pulls away. So we repeat patterns, over and over, until we decide to pause, look inward, and figure out why. And now, we have a tool that makes that process easier and more personal than ever, ChatGPT. I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT not just as a chatbot, but as a powerful mirror for self-discovery. With the right prompts and conversations, you can uncover your attachment patterns, dig into past relationship dynamics, and even start rewriting your emotional habits for healthier, more secure connections. This isn't about diagnosing yourself with a label and calling it a day. It's about awareness, growth, and emotional empowerment. So if you're tired of feeling stuck in the same romantic loops, or if you just want to understand yourself and your relationships on a deeper level, you're in the right place. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to Cracking the Man Code today, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next step in your healing journey. We're about to crack your personal code when it comes to love, and it starts with knowing your style. So I opened my laptop, typed in the prompt, ChatGPT, can you help me figure out my attachment style? And just like that, I started getting questions that no one had ever asked me before. Things like, how do you typically react when someone you care about becomes distant? Do you feel more comfortable depending on others or being self-reliant? How did your caregivers respond to your emotional needs growing up? It was like therapy, but with no judgment, no awkward silences, and no $150 hourly fee. That's when the self-awareness hit me. Through a series of personalized questions and deep dive conversations, I started to recognize patterns I had been repeating for years. Not just in dating, but in friendships, family, even at work. And as I explored more, ChatGPT helped me understand the 4 primary attachment styles and where I fit in. 1. Secure attachment. People with a secure style are comfortable with closeness and independence. They communicate openly, trust easily, and can set healthy boundaries. This is the ideal, but not necessarily where most of us start. Second, anxious attachment. This style craves closeness but fears abandonment. If your texts turn into essays or you constantly worry they're losing interest, you might resonate here. Anxious types often need a lot of reassurance and can feel easily triggered by perceived rejection. 3. Avoidant attachment. Avoidants value independence to the extreme. They pull away when things get too intimate and often shut down emotionally. If you've ever been called cold or emotionally unavailable, this could be your category. Fourth, disorganized or fearful avoidant attachment. This style is a mix of both anxious and avoidant tendencies. There's a push-pull dynamic, wanting love but fearing it. It often stems from early trauma or inconsistent caregiving. As I read through each description, one hit me like a mirror. Anxious attachment. The dots began to connect. Why I overanalyzed texts, why I chased unavailable partners, and why I confused intensity with intimacy. And here's the truth. Once you name your pattern, you can change it. With ChatGPT's help, I wasn't just labeling myself. I was learning how to grow. The AI suggested reflective exercises, helped me write journal entries, and even simulated conversations where I could practice secure communication. This process is powerful, and the sooner you identify your attachment style, the sooner you can stop repeating the same painful cycles. So ask yourself, what's your attachment style, and what's it costing you to ignore it? So here it is, the moment where curiosity turns into real clarity. Let's walk through exactly how you can use ChatGPT to figure out your attachment style, step by step. No fancy credentials needed, just honesty, intention, and the willingness to go deeper. Step 1. Start with a direct prompt. Type something like, "Can you help me figure out my attachment style?" ChatGPT will likely respond with a few clarifying questions. Think of this like opening a dialogue with your inner self, just through a digital mirror. Step 2. Answer reflective questions. Honestly, here are a few powerful questions you can feed into ChatGPT or let it ask you. How do you typically respond when someone you love pulls away or becomes distant? Do you find it easy or hard to trust people emotionally? When someone gets close to you, do you feel more comforted or do you get uncomfortable? What were your early caregiving experiences like? Do you tend to pursue people or push them away when things get emotionally intense? Answer these in detail. Be real with yourself, because the gold is in your patterns, not the surface level reactions. Step 3. Ask ChatGPT to analyze your responses. Prompt: based on my answers, what attachment style do you think I might lean toward? ChatGPT will give you a summary, usually explaining whether your traits align more with anxious, avoidant, secure, or disorganized patterns. What's helpful is that it doesn't just label you, it breaks down why, with clarity and compassion. Step 4. Dig deeper with follow-up prompts. Now ask, what are some common behaviors of people with this attachment style? How can I begin to move toward a secure attachment style? What are daily habits I can start today to build emotional resilience and better boundaries? This is where the breakthroughs happen. You'll start recognizing your own voice in the patterns, and more importantly, you'll realize you can change them. This isn't about finding a box to fit into. It's about getting a clear emotional map so you can stop wandering in circles. You now have a tool that listens, reflects, and empowers. Use it well. Once I understood my attachment style, it was like someone handed me the missing piece to a puzzle I'd been struggling with for years. Suddenly, those confusing reactions in past relationships started to make sense. The clinginess, the overthinking, the fear of being too much or too distant, they weren't random. They were protective responses from a nervous system that had been wired to survive, not necessarily to thrive in love. But now, I had a choice. Instead of reacting on autopilot, I could pause, reflect, and respond. That shift alone began to transform the way I connected with others. I started practicing small changes in real time. If I felt triggered by someone taking a little longer to respond, I'd open ChatGPT and type, "Help me reframe this situation from a secure perspective." And it would offer gentle prompts like, "What evidence do you have that this person is intentionally ignoring you? What would you say to a friend who was feeling this way?" These weren't just prompts, they were lifelines. Each time they grounded me. They helped me soothe myself before spiraling into old habits. Over time, those micro moments added up. I became more emotionally resilient. I communicated my needs without fear of rejection. I started dating from a place of calm confidence, not panic. Even my friendships deepened because I could finally recognize when I was projecting my past onto the present and pause before reacting. And it wasn't just about me. The people around me noticed the change. One friend said, "You don't over-explain everything anymore. You just say how you feel." That hit me hard, in the best way. The best part? I no longer felt stuck. I had tools, language, and support, even if it came from a chat window. So if you're wondering whether this process is really worth it, the answer is yes. Understanding your attachment style won't fix everything overnight, but it gives you a foundation to build on. It helps you stop blaming yourself, or others, for the patterns you didn't know you were repeating. And that clarity? It creates space for healing, for trust, and for the kind of love that doesn't just survive, it thrives. You're not broken, you're becoming aware. And that awareness is where everything starts to change. Understanding your attachment style isn't about putting yourself into a box. It's about giving yourself a roadmap, a framework for why you act, feel, and react the way you do in love. And when that understanding finally clicks, it's not just eye-opening, it's life-changing. Let's take a moment to recap what we've uncovered on this journey. First, you learned that attachment styles, secure, anxious, avoidant, and disorganized, are deeply rooted in early experiences, but continue to shape your adult relationships in powerful, often unconscious ways. They influence how you connect, how you pull away, how you interpret silence, and how you handle both closeness and space. Then we explored how ChatGPT, when used with the right prompts, becomes more than a chatbot. It becomes a mirror, one that helps you reflect on your patterns, ask the questions no one else may be asking, and explore your emotional world with curiosity instead of shame. We walked step by step through how to use ChatGPT to identify your attachment style, starting the conversation with direct, open-ended prompts, answering questions that explore your relationship dynamics and personal history, letting the AI reflect your patterns back to you, and then using that insight to build new, healthier communication habits. And finally, you saw how this self-awareness isn't just informative, it's transformative. It can help you calm your inner anxiety when someone pulls away, resist the urge to shut down when someone gets too close, set boundaries without guilt, speak your needs without apology, and ultimately, develop relationships that feel safe, mutual, and nourishing. The truth is, most people walk through life repeating the same relationship cycles without ever knowing why. But not you. You've started the work. That alone sets you apart. And now you have a tool that can walk with you every day, guiding your reflections, challenging your assumptions, and encouraging your emotional growth. So here's your next step. Open Chat GPT and ask, "Can you help me build a more secure attachment style?" Let it guide you. Let it challenge you. Let it support you. Because emotional healing doesn't happen in one giant leap. It happens in small moments of truth. in choosing to show up with more self-awareness today than you had yesterday. If this video helped you, make sure to like, subscribe to Cracking the Man Code today, and drop a comment sharing what attachment style you most identify with, or how ChatGPT has helped you grow. And remember, you are not your past. You are not your patterns. You are the awareness growing behind them. And that awareness, that's the beginning of everything. Let's keep growing together.